everyone, I am Aus Atsavakovith. I'm a current student of Bachelor of Economics of Thammasat Universities. And in this video, I'm going to discuss about the education of Thailand, of its system and how it's worked, and are there any problems that we need to improve, especially in eye of law. Therefore, I need to mention about the National Education Act, Buddhist era of 2542, and the fourth version, which amendment 2 years ago from now. The reason behind why I chose to do this topic, because I might decide to be a teacher in the future. So let's take a look. Okay, let's begin with what is an education. According to the National Education Act of Thailand, giving the meaning that the education is the learning process for personal and social development. So imparting of knowledge, practice, training, transmission of culture, and blah blah blah. There are a lot of them. I can summarize it into the learning process for personal and social development, which leading to a continuous lifelong learning. Okay, there are some few words before we got into the details that I want you need to know. The first word, I already mentioned it, is education. The second one is a basic education that all Thais shall receive at least 12 years from the government. The third one is educational institution, or I call it school. It's the place where you have an education. And after you have a learning process, you need to have a test. So there is an educational standard which will assess you, or not even a student, or the worker also, that need to be assessed. It's classified into an internal and external one. The fourth one, okay, is an educational personnel. It's the one whose responsibility relate to a teaching learning process, a supervision and educational administration in a different institution. It's like a teacher or faculty members or an administrator. And the last but not least is the ministry, and the minister is the one who shall oversee the application of this act. The next one that I'm going to tell you is the problem of the society involved with the Thai education system. I can summarize it into 5 bullet points. The first problem is the inequality. Imagine a child born in a rich family and a child born in a poor family. Do they receive the same level of education? They might receive the same level of knowledge, but the education doesn't mean only the knowledge. It contains environment, proper care, or other of it. This might be a consequence from capitalism. Okay, and the next one is a low efficiency in learning. From my own experience, while I was in high school, I used to learn 8 subjects a day, which I consider just too much to focus to all of them. And this is the problem that I see. But it doesn't mean that this system is not good. It has some good point of it, but it's not good for me. And the third one is the teacher or worker. Nowadays, teachers still some of teachers still focus on their salary, to how to increase their salary more than focusing on their job, on their contribution to the children. That's the point. And the fourth problem is unemployment. Unemployment is correlating to the inflation of a university certificate. I see some of the teenagers that graduate from the university did not have enough potential to work in an adult world in Thailand. Some of them. And the last one is the trend that the children or the adults that did not give the value to the education that much. But this is just some also. Okay, of all the problem that I told you, it's not their own problem, but it might be a consequence from the other structural problem. So okay, I can conclude that the education in Thailand does not support the children that much. It is hard to fix actually, because I need to consider a lot of components. For example, society, economics, and I believe a land or a role that Thailand play in the world. Do we play as a labor country, or do we play as a capitalist country? And also many more factors. But in this video, I'm going to tell you in a law aspect, how can law improve? How can law can be reformed to help solving those problems that I tell you before? Since we come to the law aspect, I need to tell you a target of the law. What is law used for? It is to raise awareness of the people who under this invisible hierarchy system, to make the change in a good way and to develop together as a human. Thus, I have categorized all those problems into to suit law aspect, which I'm going to tell you later. But before that, I will need you to know the content that I'm going to tell you today. The first one is a pain point of it in eyes of law. The second one is the models of Thai education system and other country education comparing to Thai. And the last one is the solution that I myself given to you. So let's go. Okay, for the pain point, I'm going to write you some of the chapter that contained in the National Education Act for you that involve with those problems that I told you before. The first one is general provision, the second is educational system, the educational administration and management, the quality assurance, the teacher, faculty, staff, and educational personnel, and the resource and investment for education. The reason why I cannot tell only a specific section or a specific chapter because it will not be coverage of those problems that I told you before. So let's begin with the general provision about the learning. Okay, I will tell you just a point or a concept of it. The first one is the general provision. This one is just a consequence of another chapter that I'm going to tell. So I'm going to skip for now. And moving to the next one is educational system. The educational system in Thailand classified into three of them. The first one is formal education. The second one is non-formal, and the last one is informal education. There has no problem about three of this, but the true problem is the educational system are under the bureaucratic system and patronage system. That is the point that I got. Okay, and the next point is the educational administration and management. As I told you, this one is a problem of the inflation of university certificates, which leading to the labor problem in further level. The next one is the quality assurance. The quality assurance, from my own experience while I was in my high school, I see so many teachers pretend to be in a good manner and waste a lot of time doing the paperwork, to present the school portfolio to be good. So I think this one is it's not worth for the education that much. Okay, and the next point is the teacher, faculty, staff, and educational personnel. I can tell that just some teachers or some staff are not that motivated, and also there has problem of lacking of numbers of workers, lacking of number of staff. This data I listened to my interviewee that tell me that when he contact the Ministry of Education, they are always lacking of staff to help solving. Okay, and the last one is the resource and investment for education. I can tell you in 2 points, right? From my own aspect. The first one, it is too much distribution. When since we are under the bureaucratic system, we need to cost for each step of work. In Thai we call it ค่าดำเนินการ okay, which is not good for the education at all. And the second point is the allocation is to fluctuate, depend on the minister of each generation. This data I got from my interviewee also. Okay, after we already discussed in the pain point, we moving on to the model that I pick up to present in compare to Thailand system. The model that I pick up to present is very famous and very has a good sound among the people, or even in Thailand. It is Finland. The Finland educational system. They classify the act into so many. I can tell you just some of it. There are basic educational act and general upper secondary educational act, or act on basic educational in art, or even the liberal adult education. Okay, I pick up some of the sections that seem interesting of it. From the sections, for example, the section 6 of a basic educational act. It says that the educational shall be arranged in municipality so as to make people travel to and from school as safe as short as possible in view of the habitation, the location of school, and other place of education. They care even the place where school settle. I can receive from my reading that they provide a proper care to an educational system. That much, and there are so many of them like this, that saying like this one. For example, like they say about content education in act, not in the ministerial declaration. Okay, or mother tongue, because Finland has very various language spoken. Or educational evaluation is same like the Thai assessment, or a pupil assessment itself. It all tell, or pupil workload. The student shall have a limited workload in Finland. That seems crazy, but it has an act on it. On the section 24, I'll show you in the slide. And the last one that I see interesting is the completion of compulsory schooling. They told this one also. Okay, one of the basic principles of Finnish education is that all people must have equal access to high quality education and training. The same opportunities for education are available to all citizens, irrespective of their ethnic origin, age, race, language, or location. And the basic right to education and culture is recorded in the Constitution, while education is free at all levels from pre-primary to higher level education.
Where you are living, or are you rich or poor, or are you girl or boy, we want to give equal opportunities for everyone. We are looking at our educational system. The basic education, it's very decentralized. So the municipalities, they are running the schools and they have the responsible of the schools. But of course we have the basic education legislation. It's in national level. And then we have also national core curricula. But the schools and municipalities, they have also quite much freedom themselves.
For the key element of Finnish education policy include quality, efficiency, equity, well-being, and lifelong learning. This is really close to Taiwan, not Taiwan, Thai's National Education Act. Okay, but in comparing, the difference is the number of acts. This definition shows the details on an act, while Thailand shows the detail on the ministerial declaration. Which there's a trade-off between this, because if the Thai wrote on the ministerial declaration, it's easy to fix, but it is fluctuated, as I mentioned. But as the Finland wrote it in act, in constitution, it's hard to fix, but it guarantee the quality of it. And from which I already told you is the level proper of care. The Finnish use a very friendly language and easy to understand for them, and it's covered in all part of it in one act. Just one act, like a basic education. Okay, let me tell you some of the Thai background that I from my research is about bureaucratic system, that the teacher are also under this system, and teacher need to focus on their increasing in their salary also, because they need to live, which under bureaucratic system the teacher need to practice under the C system. It's called C system to show the rank of the teacher and show the level of the salary. How can they growing up and increase their salary is the one way is to I call it to write the portfolio or write research or in just some there are in Thailand there are so many ways of research that come from this system, and which this is not the right way to solve the problem. Okay, and here come to the solution. After I look into the model of Finland and talking to my interviewee and also a research on the internet, I can come up with an idea of a separation in National Education Act of Thailand into a main basic one, like Finland did. For example, we have a basic education act like Finland and provide a full amount of data on the constitution, not just only a ministerial declaration. Because I see this will help benefit, because it will get the people to respect the law more than we used to be. It will help because like right now we only focus on the ministerial declaration, not just focus on the law, and it's an indirect way to devalue the mother law. Okay, the next point that I want to reform or amend is the point of resource allocation. Resource allocation to cut off or reduce the amount that spent on the universities to spend on the basic education. This should be informed in an act that we should focus on the basic education act. Why is this good? I think just from my opinion only, if I do this, it will change the roles of education in Thailand to in a better way, because and that will get rid of the inflation of university certification in Thailand, and also it helps the children who graduate from the basic education understand the real world more often. And I cannot tell you in a concrete way, but if you get this one, I hopefully you will get this theme that I want to convey. Okay, and the last point that I come up with a solution is to raise the value of the teacher, which means you need to spend the investment and the resource on the teacher salary at first. So it will help the teacher to get more motivated, and it will be a competition between the teacher themselves, and it will get development, which it might seem bad for the teacher, but it is good for the consumer, which is the student. And this is the point of my solution in the three categories. After discussion in the topic of the pain point of the National Education Act of Thailand, and also providing you a model of the best education that people say that it's the best in the world, which is the Finland. That's a model. I can conclude that in Thailand education system need to improve a lot. Improve by the in law aspect or from the people themselves. It needs the power from both sides to build up the strong fundamental that serve the children in Thailand to be a better person and improvement in every aspect. So I hope that one day in the future I can solve this problem, not solve and improve this problem in the future. I hope that I can. So thank you for listening to my presentation, especially อาจารย์มุนิน โอเคครับ สวัสดีครับ